Hey folks, Kevin here. Well, it's May 7th, 2021, and today what I thought I'd do is share with you sort of a 7th month review of the used Komatsu track loader. It's a skid steer front end attachment, so it takes a whole variety of different attachments. Just when the snow began to fall in the fall, I did purchase a rock and brush grapple along with hydraulically assisted forks, and I will be getting more equipment for it in the future as well. And one of the things I ended up doing, because I'm working in locations that are working in the forest where there's trees all around, and since some of the areas are very new growth trees, they may be 30 feet tall, but they're small caliper. Being able to have good visibility, that's one of the challenges with this track loader. So I ended up purchasing a backup camera and monitor that's designed for trailers and RVs and all. It's a wireless system. The company name is Do Honest. It costs $160. It certainly isn't at the same caliber that the ones that are coming in the new track loaders or skid steers. Certainly not as good as the ones that you can buy from the track loader supply manufacturers. So this costs about $150 or $160. Real easy to set up. I put the camera inside the cab looking out the back window. Because it is a vertical lift track loader, there's a little bit less visibility. And today what I thought I'd do is go over some of the things that I really love about this piece of equipment and some of the things that I don't care for. So for history with it, it's a 2008 Komatsu CK35-1. Very nice wide tracks on it. I purchased it from someone not too far from here, just a couple of miles away, who is sort of a part-time dealer picking up used equipment and reselling it. I purchased Bumblebee, the PC27MR mini excavator, which is a Komatsu as well. Both of them have Yanmar motors in them, which are really, they purr like a kitten and work like a horse. This track loader works like a bear. You point it in the right direction and it is going to take it down. It is just extremely powerful. It just has the low flow hydraulics on it, and there are other things coming in the future. I'll be doing videos on the brush grabbers and brush grapples and rock grapple, and as well as the hydraulic forks. Both of those I've used so far, but I want to get more hours on them before I give you my perspective on them. So what's going to follow is just going to show you some of the my review. I went out this morning and put my head cam on or helmet cam on, and thought I'd share with you the things that I think that are really great about this piece of equipment and the things that I think are somewhat lacking as well. So here we go. Okay, so I thought it's time to do a bit of a review on Hound, the Komatsu CK35-1 track loader. And this has rubber tracks. I got this just about seven and a half months ago. It was previously, I purchased it from someone, the same person I bought the Bumblebee from a few years ago. And as he described the pieces of equipment, they're pretty accurate. They're both previously owned by Anderson Equipment Company that also rents out equipment. So I knew that when I got it that it was quite variable as far as how much abuse it had taken and all. But all in all, this piece of equipment is just amazing. Now ignore the grapple on it right now. I'll make another video about my prime attachment equipment that the attachments for this track loader, and it is a skid steer attachment on this, so we can use all different, I've got hydraulic forks, I've got the bucket, and I've got this rock and brush grapple on it right now, and I'll make videos about those. But today's video, I just want to talk a little bit about some of the things I like and some of the things I dislike about this piece of equipment. One, it's got the big rubber track, so I can go across roads and all. It does very little damage. They're very wide tracks. It's been really wet around here lately, so the soil hasn't dried up yet, so there's lots of mud being collecting inside of the tracks. So the wide rubber tracks gives us good floating ability going across the property, really good traction with these tracks as well. The hydraulic power, with the Yanmar motors, which I think are absolutely excellent, and both of these pieces of equipment have Yanmar motors in them, and I think they really are excellent. They purr like a kitten and work like a horse. I do have some issues about working on them, so I'll go over that in a couple of minutes. But these are really, really nice. So some things that I don't care for about it is the size of the cab. I'm a pretty good size guy, and the cab just isn't easy to get in and out of, especially now that I've got a backup camera in it, and I'll talk about that in a second. And I have a mount up there for mounting the GoPro camera, so I don't have to wear the helmet cam that I'm wearing right now. But the hydraulic controls work fantastic. The air conditioning hasn't worked. Heating works okay. Circulation of air in here isn't great, but it is one hell of a working beast. And again, this was used for rental purposes and all. Now, I did buy a DoHonest, DoHonest, and I'll put a link in the description below for a wireless 1080p backup camera system. So you can see I mounted the camera on a makeshift mount on the back there. It was supposed to plug into a cigarette lighter, and so the cigarette lighter was bad in this unit, so I just brought some wires from the battery right up to here and still use a cigarette lighter attachment so I can turn on and off the camera as needed. With a skid steer like this, going backwards in the woods, in the forest area, well, you can easily back into things, and although you may be going slow and only do a little bit of damage, you can just rip the bark off of a tree pretty easily. So I purchased this. This I think costs $150 or $160, this backup camera system. So far it's been great. It's a 7-inch 1080p screen. It can take up to 4 cameras and all. I'm only interested in one, so I could see what's going on behind me. Because just turning around in here is a bit of a hassle because of the limited size. So the track loader functions perfectly. It's just not as comfortable as I would like it to be. But one of the things I will say is the door on this skid steer or track loader actually folds up from above, and that was really important for me to get a track loader where the door would actually fold up above, because if you have a problem with a piece of equipment or you've got a load in front of this, in order to get out of it, you'd have to swing open the door on many track loaders and skid steers, and that would impede your ability to get out of the skid steer in case you had an issue. And I've had hydraulic leaks. I've had issues where I just had to shut the machine down, and it was the implement on the front of the equipment was in the wrong location for me to be able to get out if the door was a swinging door. Visibility could be better in this, but you can see fairly well with this unit. Before I had gotten it, somebody had probably backed it into a post or a building or something. You could see they had really beat the heck out of it. So the latch doesn't work extremely well on this, so I have a strap. It latches, but it comes undone. Ease of access. for fuel and oil, and your sight gauge for hydraulic fluid. All of that's really easy, and again, this machine works extremely well. But nowadays, the improvements that they've made in the newer models, and certainly other manufacturers, make these pieces of equipment much easier to access without having to flip the cab up. And even flipping up the cab to gain access to all the hydraulics and everything below the cab, getting into the body, the frame of the track loader. The newer equipment, especially some manufacturers, are making it much easier to get. Now this is a vertical lift, which really means that it goes straight up and down as opposed to a radial lift. I actually do like this an awful lot, and you can keep things pretty much level to go. But one of the things I don't care for is the lack of really nice visibility. There isn't enough glass in this unit. I'd like to have more visibility from working inside of it. Does it work really well with the backup camera? I feel much more comfortable, but I'm always concerned about what's around me because there's really narrow places that I've got to get into. What else about this? I think that's about it. The piece of equipment is in very good condition. For a guy who's a little bit smaller, it probably wouldn't be any big deal operating this, but the bigger you are, you know, the more tight you are, especially when you put a backup camera and the other little camera inside of the unit. Is there anything else I wanted to say? I think that's about it. So this unit has done quite a few things in the last 7 months, and we just went through a winter where it was just put in my workshop and sitting there. So one of the things it did, it resurfaced the sediment to help seal the pond 5 over here. And another thing it did, it helped bring in many rocks and tree stumps and logs and earth so that I could build access roads around the beaver dam, 2 beaver dams. And it also helped to expand Pond 7. Bumblebee did a lot of the breaking down the earth around Pond 7 so I could expand it. And Hound here came in with the standard dirt bucket, picked up that material, raced it over into an area where we build another access road. It just has the standard low flow hydraulics on this one, so I'm limited as far as which attachments I can use, but for hydraulic forks and using the grapples here, it works like a piece of cake. It's just fantastic. Overall, I'm tickled pink with this piece of equipment. It's done a really good job as well. I think that's it. I had one big poplar. I'm going to come down here and mark where all the ramps are.